Okay, hi everyone. Hi, I'm Sonya. I'm a photographer and mixed media artist here in Etobicoke, Ontario, and I'm really glad you could join me. My Instagram is SonyaPhoto7, so I will try and post that later. Okay, so today we're doing a studio tour, and with the pandemic, even more so, my hi. Okay, we're back. My second room here became my studio. So I'll give you a little tour, but first I'll start with some of the equipment I use, and some of this may look familiar to you. I'll just turn the camera around. Okay, so Arts Etobicoke did a object of cultural significance, and I am choosing to start with that. This is my dad's akshata camera, and it's pretty heavy. This thing is made of solid metal, and I believe it was made in East Germany back in the day. So this is not a light little camera phone like what I'm holding. So I used to take this around for yearbook. I'd throw it in my bag, and I would take pictures for the yearbook at Senn High School in Chicago, which is where I grew up. And yeah, so that was a lot of fun, and I even still enjoy, it doesn't work now, but I can still change the f-stops and the focus and everything with the lens, and it's kind of neat just to feel the camera in my hands. And the second camera, this is made now, I believe, but it's plastic and it's very light. And it's a Holga camera, and it uses film. It's a 2 1/4 film, which is this huge film, if you can see with my hand. And it's unbreakable, and of course it's held together with black duct tape, which I use. And the third one, this is a new camera. You'd probably think of it as a Polaroid, but it's made by Fuji, and it makes quick instant pictures, and it's very handy, and I use it in my collages, and also if you have a party, well, when we have parties again, it's nice to have pictures and people can take them home with them. Okay, so I will, hi there, I will now walk the 3 feet over here, and I have this wall with all my art up, and I will preface by saying I know we've all been living through very hard times, and it's still a very hard time for a lot of us, and the most recent work I had up until the beginning of the pandemic, I was working in long-term care as an activity aide, so there was a lot of sadness. I won't go into details. And I really found it cathartic and very helpful to work on my artwork. And especially I took a lot of classes with Nielsen Park Art Center, so I will say I did that. And I think one of my teachers, Helen, I might have seen her on here. And so that was very helpful to have a schedule and to get in there and try different things, because I'm mainly a photographer, as you could see, but I've tried all different things, and I will get to it now, and I will show you. So I'll turn this around, and here we have our art wall, and I'll just kind of pan it, and I put these on recently. So and if you have any questions, I'll try to answer as we go or at the end. So this is one of the first pieces I made during the pandemic. If you can see it, unfortunately, it's not a sunny day, so it's cloudy today. But this in the middle is a picture I took with regular camera, and it is of the St. Louis cemetery in New Orleans, I believe. And I went there years ago, and okay, someone is joining me. I don't know who that is, but go ahead. Anyway, so I used some of the Polaroid. Here's a Polaroid picture of the playground, and it says caution. And there was caution tape put up at the beginning of our first lockdown here in Toronto, and the kids couldn't even play in the playground. And I understand, but it was just very sad for me to see that. So I took a Polaroid, walked to the park right by my house, and took some pictures. And then I found myself using my Encaustic Wax, which I will just quickly show you what that is. That's like this wax that comes in a you could have it as a soap bar or just shaved. And I use it in a crock pot, melt it down, And this is the texture. You can touch it. It smells great. I wish you could smell it through here. And I use some of my dad's old maps, happen to be of Lake Michigan, but just, of everything, and some Japanese art paper, which is another thing that I commonly use in my pieces. So that was very helpful for me to just kind of throw things, put them together, and make a piece to start. And this series, now things get a little more happy, I thought. This is called We Had to Stay Home. And we have to stay home. And at least in Toronto and many places, we're staying home. So this is made with a Japanese art paper again, watercolor paint, and the buildings. And this is even a little bit three-dimensional here. And there is a bunny in the window. So he's looking okay. He's not sad. And people are just having to stay home. There is some sun. So there's some brightness and hope there. So I really enjoyed making that, and I'll show you. So there is another piece, similar materials, but different, and these are just leaves. And if you look closely, it's a lot of detail in there, a lot of layers of paper, which I really enjoyed putting the different layers on. And as you can see, it's not filled in. Your eye sort of fills in the leaves. And I did take, I made some of these pieces when I was taking some of the online classes, so that was a lot of fun. And so now we'll do one more, collage. This is also collage, and it's called Caution Rules. And we have, again, the Polaroid picture, and I actually took a filter, a camera filter, old filters, and I cut them up. And I glued that on there to add more dimension to it. And it's a collage of just the feelings that we had, and it's kind of bright and glaring because it was just kind of shocking to have to go through all of this. And again, you can ask questions in here, and I'll try to answer them. So if there are any, please do. So I'll move on to, this is the Holga camera. When I showed you with the big film, and this is Montrose Harbor, and this piece has a lot of meaning to me. Montrose Harbor is in Chicago, and it was close to my house, and I'd walk down there with my dad and the dog a lot, and then my mom, at the end of her life, lived in a nursing home across the street, and it was a very nice home, and we would sometimes even take her for walks here, and it's just the seeing of it with the art paper behind, and it's just another piece that I just really enjoyed making. And I have a few more little pieces here. Here's some kites. This is encaustic wax, and I rarely use color in the wax. I use the wax more as a medium to make the collage and put it all together. But this one I did do with color, and I believe these are coffee filters. And I do want to give a shout out. I don't know that she's watching, but Graham Curry, I met her through Arts Etobicoke, and she became on a workshop at another place where I learned how to do encaustic. So that was really cool. And here's another piece. This has my first beagle. Some of you may know it's Sadie, and some other pieces there together, and maps, and it's just a lot of texture. And again, another thing about my pieces is you can touch them. I mean, a lot of times you go to the art museum and you're not supposed to touch anything. You have to be careful, and that's fine. I mean, their work is very fragile maybe, but mine, I mean, you can drop it. I've dropped these things many times. So it's kind of approachable that way. Okay, so I'll show you another in my series that I did make during the lockdown. This is called Wanderlust Revisited, and it's a motel. And in the Toronto Star, there was an article about, in the summer especially, the numbers were lower here in Toronto, and people were traveling in cars safely with their family. And the motels, back in the day, more people traveled to motels, and it's good now because you can actually go outside. You're not going through a corridor. You're not near anyone. You can just go directly up to your room. So it's safer. So, they had this great article. So I took a little of the collage, and then I added with pastels, I believe, which is something I learned how to use a little bit, and the Japanese art paper again. And I had a fun time doing that. And I noticed, which was really interesting, that I had a similar piece from before. And this is back in 1983. This is, I took this with a 110 camera. I was a teenager at that time. And my parents and I traveled from Chicago to New York City in an old car, and we stayed at these kind of motels. And I had this piece kind of kicking around, so I thought, oh, this actually, it's a little theme here. And what I had wrote was that no one knew where we were except for John the alley mechanic. Amazing, the old Ford made it back from New York and Sandusky, Ohio. That was 1983, to tell you the truth. And there was a very nice character, this guy, and we called him John the alley mechanic. He lived across the street, and he was always fixing cars in the alley. So there's the motel series. And I will move on to, yes, this is also with Encaustic, so I'll keep that up. This one might, some of you may have seen it because I think I took it to one of the artist salons at Arts Etobicoke, and it was in one of the shows at Gilson Park Creative Center. And this one, I did this last year, and I put a lot of thought into it. I'll tell you the truth, things like this, I just sort of throw them together. I don't know what's going to happen, and they just happen. But this one, it was kicking around in my head for a long time, for me, weeks. And I had these pictures that I believe my mother took. And if you look really close, I don't know if that's my mother or her friends. And the story is that my mother was in an internment camp in California. She's Japanese American, and my parents were older during World War II. So she was in this internment camp. And then when they were out, they were out. They were looking at everything. They went traveling, and they moved to different parts of the country. So this is also the encaustic wax and the texture. This piece is called Arms Akimbo, sorry, because as you can see, her arms are out like that, and that's how it is just when you put your hands on your hip. And she's kind of taking a look and saying, well, you know, what's next, where to go, and now I can come out and see everything. And yeah, I always remember that part of my mother's history, even though she didn't talk about it too much. So that was a piece that I did last year. And moving on to a little something kind of fun. I do a little nature photography, let's say. We have a lot of shadows here, so sorry. This is my first doggie. It's a kind of a close-up taken with a close-up lens, and that's Sadie, and that's like half her face. So so she's there, and not to be left out, we have our photography. We have most of, if anyone knows me, that's Lou. So there he is. We do a lot of you know, fun stuff with photography. And getting into East Mall Park, which is a park right by my house. This I took a while ago. This was, they redone the park, and this is old, the old slide, the old swing, and it's again pretty sturdy. Look at that, it's matted on wood, so that's been around for a while. But this park is really 3 minutes from my house, and I walk the dog there a lot. And going on to that, Arts Etobicoke folks will recognize this one. Back in January, you put a call out for contact photography, and this was the strangest year ever. So we didn't have the show. It was online. They had a little bit of online. That's fine. But this is what I had started with. It's just kind of a mock-up, but you see the Polaroids. This is before lockdown. So this is when, this is a picture of the old park taken with the Polaroid. So it's a picture of a picture, and I was just having some ideas around that. My ideas were that that this park is very multicultural in the summer, in regular times, and I'll say even in COVID times, people went out, and there's 50 people there, and they're all from different backgrounds, and you can kind of tell from what they're wearing. And all the kids are playing, they're playing together, they're having a great time. And I just walk with my dog and watch, you know, and then, you know, happy that they're all having a good time. So that's the park right there, and that's what was going to happen. But you know, no hurt feelings. This is the strangest year, and so many of us didn't get a chance to have shows and things like that. And this is just a regular, well, I just say, you know, it's a photograph of the park. in fall, and it's just something that I have. And since I have these artworks, I guess I'll keep going. If anyone has questions, please let me know. This is from Muskoka. It's a basic digital print, and I've had this for a while, but people seem to like the three sticks there that came up, and a beautiful fall day in Muskoka. And we traveled to the East Coast a few times, and this is another encaustic. It's you know, the paper, and it has flowers, and it's very textured. You could, you know, touch it. And this is a picture, and it can put it any different ways, actually. So actually that's a self-portrait. There I am taking the picture. So and it smells nice too. Too bad you can't smell it. And this is the Guild. This is a friend of mine who's a photographer. We went out and took pictures there. And this is the Holga. So that's that camera with the big 2x2 film. And I just put some of those together. And that was in a show in Etobicoke a few years ago. And this, I want to mention that in Chicago, I hung out a lot at my friends at Peter Jones Gallery, and if they're on here, hi Peter and Gwen. My friends had a studio, and I rented some studio space, and I did take this photograph, and we blew it up, and we made a much bigger digital print of it, but I just had it, so I would just show you. That's Garfield Park in Chicago. And this is my little delving into drawing, which some of the classes, I think I took this at the Mississauga Arts Center online. And we were drawing the fabric and textures, but I ended up drawing, this is a reduction drawing. And when I drew it, I saw different shapes. Well, I'll tell you, to me, I kind of see a fish of some sort and things, but it's like we had this really interesting lesson, or trying to draw different fabrics, the light on the fabrics. And when I was kind of not trying to make it look like fabric, that didn't work out, but the drawing was kind of cool, so I just thought I'd show you that. So I really did try different ways of expressing myself, and different ways besides photography, which I might not have done if there weren't a pandemic, but I certainly would rather that there hadn't been. Then I'm not saying, but I tried to make the best of it. And I do want to mention that for the longest time, I've had these art cards, and I've sold them at places like Nielsen Park Creative Center and around, and given them to friends for birthdays and things like that. Yeah. Thank you, Helen. Okay, I see some comments here. And I'm just getting used to, I'll scroll down the comments. Yeah, so I have a few more pieces. I could go just into the hallway and show you those, and then I'll tell you about about the process I use. Okay, so here I'll turn this around a bit. And again, yeah, hi everyone. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free, and I'll just go in here a bit. Okay, so I just have a couple of pieces out here. Well, I have a hallway, isn't that special? Yeah, so anyways, for a while I was doing this series a few years ago where Project, and I would take pictures of fortunes and put them in these glass jars, and every day I'd have like a different fortune. Like this one says start early. Not that I'm a big early bird, but and this one says be open to possibilities. So what they do, and then I have also a fortune inside of there. If I take it off, I can kind of move it around, and the fortune kind of moves around. And so that's kind of cool. So again, the pieces are very approachable. You can touch them, and yeah, it didn't fall down while I was. And this fortune says, don't give up. So that's kind of cool. It says, don't give up. The best is yet to come. So that's cool. I'm glad that, so I hope this fortune comes true for sure. And getting back to, my friends, Gwen and Peter Jones with the gallery in Chicago, this is part of their old gallery space where I used to hang out. This is another encaustic collage. And this is actually a picture of a kitchen in Michigan. So, but I've got just the collage, and I like the feel of this. It's very, very earthy and organic, and I enjoyed making that. So I guess since we have still people, I'll just do one across the hall, this is just a group of the collages of the fortunes. So yeah, I did that for quite a few months, and yeah, that was a lot of fun. So I'll turn it around. You'll see me again. Okay, hi. So yeah, I'll show you my my process, or what I'm working on now, and then again, if there's any questions. So let's see, the best way to do this here. I'll turn it around again. Okay, so for reference, so this is we had to stay home, and this is still we have to stay home. So I have a bigger one, but hopefully we won't have to stay home longer. It's just I had a bigger canvas. So anyway, so this is that lovely Japanese paper, and it had this texture, and I had this before uh, before the lockdown. There's somebody waving at me. Before the lockdown, and I made. I'm sorry, there was a distraction. I've been painting on this and drawing, and this is one piece, and it'll kind of be glued here. And I'm not sure exactly where, and I just kind of use this glue sealer to do it. And then I will like here's the watercolor paint, and that, and then we'll just see what happens, and I'll just glue it down. And the color though actually is much more bright. I'm hoping for better days ahead, vaccines and everything. So this will still be a series, and we don't know if there'll be a bunny or what there'll be. But yeah, it's a lot of fun, and I do like to use these. These are pastel, and I could even just, I guess, show you a little bit. You just kind of color it in, and then everyone will be different, and I have no idea what it's going to look like. I'll just kind of go and sometimes I take this art paper, some of the art paper, and I'll just tear it, and maybe one of the windows will have this on it, inside, as you can see, like this one has that one. So yeah, so that's kind of it. I don't think well, actually I could just show you. Whoopsie. Okay, so here we go. Let's see, let's hope it, okay, see, so there you go. So it put the paint, but it's really neat because what happens is the art paper, you can see the texture kind of comes through as you put the paint on it. And that can be that texture or different texture, like this kind of looks like clouds or something. I really like this one. And that was the one with my mother of the Japanese, her standing there in front of the mountains. I used that paper. And so the texture, comes through, and it's just kind of a neat process, and it's really fun to do and enjoyable. And yeah, well, you know what? I think that's kind of about it. If again, thanks. Whoops, I'll turn it around. If anyone has any questions, or just really glad you came to join me today. And yeah, every week Arts Etobicoke has a different artist, so tune in again. And yeah, so I'll wait a minute, see if there's any other comments or questions, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay, I don't see anything. All righty then. Okay, well, thank you everyone for joining me, and it was great for all the support, and we really hope that next year will be better. Okay, all right, take care everyone. Okay, bye-bye.